Good evening, dear students. Today we are going to learn about another disorder that is inborn error of metabolism, which is known as albinism. And you must have seen so many patients or so many sufferers of this particular disorder with fair skin. बरेचदा आपल्याला असे युरोपियन किंवा फॉरेनर सारखे दिसणारी लोक आपल्यामध्ये दिसतात आणि असे जी लोक असतात की ज्यांची स्किन एकदम फेअर होऊन जाते, ज्यांच्या स्किनमध्ये पिगमेंट सिक्रेट होत नाहीत, असे ज्याला आपण कोड आलं म्हणतो, असे जे लोक दिसतात तर ते अल्बिनो असतात. आणि त्यांचं कारण हे मेलेनिनचं लेस पिगमेंटेशन हे असू शकतं. Okay, so let's study about this particular disorder. Albinism refers to the range of disorders that results from reduction or absence of pigment melanin. These vary in severity and often causing white skin, light hair, and vision problems. The condition can affect anyone. This condition can affect anyone. You can see in this particular picture a baby with albinism and a normal man, African man, and the albino man. Okay, the condition can affect anyone, but it is prevalence to various regions of the world. In sub-Saharan Africa, albinism affects 1 in 5,000 to 15,000 people. Among some group, the rate is as high as 1 in 1,000 to 5,000. In Europe and United States, it is closer to 1 in 17,000 to 20,000. Okay. In India also, we can see a similar kind of rate, like in 15,000 to 20,000 one albino person is observed. Okay, so albinism is a range of disorders varying in severity. They are the caused by reduction or absence of pigment melanin, often causing white skin, light hair, and vision problems. It is a genetic disorder which include incurable, but some symptoms can be treated. Some symptoms of this particular disorder can be easily treated, like, for example, uh, these people, they mostly are very fair and they try to avoid sunlight. Okay, because the melanin which is present in the eyes also is not well developed. So in a open sunlight they get different problems. Okay, the effects are seen more on the hair, eyes, skin, and the vision, and due to improper functioning of the enzymes tyrosinase. We have seen in the first lecture how this pathway which blocks dopamine and which produces melanin. Okay, so blocking of that particular pathway leads to albinism. Albinism is the range of disorders. And what are the symptoms of albinism? The primary symptoms of albinism can be split into the following four categories. First, we can see the skin, hair, then eye color, low level of melanin, which is again causing different other problems, that is photosensitivity and that. But the main what is demarkable problem we have can see is in the skin. The most obvious symptoms of albinism is a lighter skin tone. However, skin tone does not always differ substantially. You can see in this particular picture, okay, the color of the skin is very light or fair. Levels of melanin may slowly increase in some individuals, slowly darker their skin tone as they age. Okay. Even in case of Europeans also, the melanin is not secreted much. So the Europeans or Africans people, they most American people, they come to India. It's a tropical country, and you must have seen in the on beaches they lie down just to tone their skin, just to activate the melanin pigment in their body, because in these countries, they have temperate countries, they have not sufficient sunlight which activates their melanin pigment. Okay. And what you can say, the different to that, in African countries there is a more sunlight, because it is in the equator region, and enough sunlight, and that's why these people are more darker. After exposure to the sun, some people with albinism might develop फ्रिकल्स. फ्रिकल्स म्हणजे बारीक बारीक जे काळे काळे, काय म्हणू शकतो आपण, तिळांसारखे तिळ असतात ना, मोल्स असतात, तसे मोल्स काही लोकांमध्ये आपल्याला बघायला मिळतात, फ्रिकल्स. Moles, even they develop moles, generally pink in color due to the required quantities of pigments and large freckle-like spots called lentigens. Okay, you must have seen this kind of people also around you. Hair in these people, as with skin, the hair can range in color from white to brown. Okay. Sometimes in this particular picture also you must have seen the hair color is almost white. Some people are almost reddish brown or reddish color. Okay. As the individual ages, their hair color may slowly darken. Now, in case of eye color, this can also change with age and varies from very light blue to brown. Low levels of melanin in the iris means that the eyes can appear slightly translucent and in certain light look red or pink as the light reflects off the retina at the back of the eye. The lack of pigment prevents the iris from fully blocking sunlight. This makes people with albinism sensitive to light photosensitivity. Okay, and that's why causes of albinism. Albinism is caused by malnutrition in one of the several genes. The genes in questions are responsible for various aspects of the production of melanin by melanocytes in the skin and eyes. Most commonly, the mutation interfere with the enzyme tyrosinase, that is tyrosin 3 monooxygenase, which synthesize melanin from the amino acid tyrosine. We have seen this pathway. Okay. So mutation of this particular enzyme leads to blocking of this pathway. Now, what are the different types of albinism? Albinism is split into number of subgroups depending on the specific genes that are affected. These subgroups include the following: oculocutaneous albinism, that is OCA, caused by mutation in one of four genes. These subdivisions include OCA type 1. Individuals tend to have milky skin while hair and blue eyes. Okay. The individuals tend to have milky skin, white hair, and blue eyes. With age, some individuals' skin and hair may darken. OCA type 2, similar type 1, and occurs most often in sub-Saharan African Americans and Native Americans. OCA type 3 occurs mostly in black South Africans, and OCA type 4 occurs most in East Asian and other like Indian populations and all. Okay, so like that, there are four types, that is the oculocutaneous albinism. Okay, then there is another type of disorder which is called as the cystic fibrosis. We have learned it in the first year also. Cystic fibrosis, it occurs due to the effect of cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator gene, that is CFTR gene. Cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator gene. Okay, you have to remember this particular word because it may be asked in the question about the CFTR gene, which controls the movement of water and salt in and out of body's cells. Okay, a sudden mutation or change in the CFTR gene causes the mucus to become thicker and stickier. आता हा जो बॅलन्स ते करत असतात कशाचा, सॉल्ट आणि वॉटरचा मुवमेंट करत असतात, तर त्याच्यामध्ये डिफेक्ट झाल्यामुळं काय होऊ शकतं, तर म्युकस बिकम्स थिकर अँड स्टिकर. Cystic fibrosis affects the cells which produce sweat, mucus, and digestive enzymes, which are secreted fluids. These are thin and smooth like olive oil. These are helpful for lubricating various organs and tissues, preventing them from getting too dry or infected. Okay. In people with cystic fibrosis, due to faulty gene, the fluids become thick and sticky. Instead of acting as a lubricant, the fluids clog the ducts, tubes, and passageways in the body. This can lead to life threatening problems like infections, respiratory failures, and the malnutrition. Now, in this picture, you can see how it looks the lumen of normal person and the or healthy person and the cystic fibrosis person. So it get accumulated, and due to that, it forms this mucus becomes thicker and stickier. Okay, so early diagnosis and treatments are critical for improving quality of life and lengthening the expected lifespan. It is serious genetic condition that causes severe damage. Okay, it may cause severe damage to respiratory and digestive system. This damage often results from the buildup of thick sticky mucus in the organs. The most commonly affected organs, which includes, are the lungs, pancreas, liver, and intestines. The symptoms of cystic fibrosis can vary depending on the persons and the severity of the conditions. One of the first signs of is a strong salty taste to the skin. Okay, you have to remember the first sign of or symptom of cystic fibrosis is salty taste to the skin. The thick, sticky mucus blocks the passageways that carry air in and out of the lungs, because of which the symptoms like whistling म्हणजे शिट्टीसारखा आवाज येणे, cough that produces thick mucus or phlegm, shortness of breath, especially when exercising, recurrent lung infections, a stuffy nose, stuffy sinuses are seen in case of cystic fibrosis. In digestive system, the mucus plug up the channels that carry the enzymes produced by the pancreas to the small intestine. Without these enzymes, intestine can't absorb the necessary nutrients from food. Okay, they cannot absorb necessary nutrients from the food, which in turn can result in constipation, nausea, swollen abdomen, loss of appetite, poor weight gain, and delayed growth in the children. It is most common among the Caucasians of the Northern Europe descents. Caucasians हे युरोपमध्ये आढळणारे एक पर्टिक्युलर रेस आहे आणि त्यांच्यामध्ये सिस्टिक फायब्रोसिस हे मोठ्या प्रमाणात आपल्याला बघायला मिळतं. However, it is known to occur in all ethnic groups. People having family history are at an increased risk as it is an inherited disorder. The immunoreactive trypsinogen, that is IRT test, is standard in newborn screening test and that checks for abnormal levels of the proteins called as the IRT, that is immunoreactive trypsinogen in the blood. A high level of IRT may be sign of cystic fibrosis. However, further testing is required to confirm the diagnosis. Okay. Now another disorder today we are going to learn, that is about the breast cancer. A great number of diseases such as diabetes, congenital heart disease, spinal bifida, and cancer are known to have hereditary components. आपल्याला असं वाटतं की हे कॅन्सर वगैरे हे लाईफस्टाईल डिसीज असू शकतील. लाईफस्टाईलमुळे ते जास्त वाढलेत, बट ऑल ऑफ देम हॅव्हिंग अ background of heredity or inheritance. Okay, so they come diabetes, you all know that how it goes from parents to the offsprings. Even if you not eat much sugar, it comes to you from your parents. And sometimes even the people who you are eating sugar and they doesn't have the gene for diabetes, they can easily digest that much amount of sugar. Okay, even heart disease, cancer is increasing so much in the community society that these diseases like the breast cancer is becoming problem for many females. These are called multifactorial disease as they are caused not by a single gene mutation but by combination of genetic and environmental factors working together. Lifestyle, environment, and other biological factors also play a part. Breast cancer is a multifactorial disease caused by both genetic and non genetic factors. A strong family history increases the risk of breast cancer. In small minority of patients, 5 to 10%, this risk is greatly increased as a result of inheriting a genetic abnormality. Determining the risk of breast cancer is very important when deciding on a monitoring policy or the correct therapeutic approach. The recent discovery of three genes, that is BRCA1, BRCA2, and BRCA3, which are clearly associated with an increased risk of breast cancer, has greatly assisted in identifying at risk women in families carrying these genes. In this disease, certain cells in the breast becomes abnormal and multiply uncontrollably to form a tumor and malignancy. Okay, so breast cancer, tumor or cancer is a uncontrolled growth of multiplication of cells. In a normal condition, there is a the program cell death or apoptosis, which naturally kills or uh, kills the cells, that is called as program cell death, that is apoptosis. And that's why new cells takes their position. But here the earlier cells, which are old cells, are also surviving. Along with that, new cells also comes, so it फॉर्म्स ए ट्यूमर, ज्याला आपण गाठ म्हणतो, अशी गाठ तयार होते. Although it is much more common in women but can also develop in men. In both women and men, the most common form of breast cancer begins in cells lining of the milk duct, that is the ductal cancer. In women, cancer can also develop in the glands and that produce the milk, that is the lobular cancer. Most men show very rare lobular cancer as they have little or no lobular tissue. In its early stages, breast cancer usually does not cause pain and may exhibit no noticeable symptoms. As we know, there is no reason we found for the cancer, exact reason, though there are some which are prone to find a cancer. As the cancer progresses, signs and symptoms can include lump of thickening in or near the breast, changes in the size or shape of the breast, nipple, discharge tenderness or retraction, that is the turning inwards, and skin irritation, dimpling or scaliness. However, these changes can occur as a part of many different conditions. In some cases, cancerous tumors can invade surrounding tissues and spread to other parts of the body. If the breast cancer spreads, cancerous cells most often appear in the bones, liver, lungs, or brain. A small percentage of all breast cancers clusters in families, and these cancers are described as hereditary and are associated with inherited gene mutations. Hereditary breast cancers tend to develop earlier in lifespan than non-hereditary, that is the sporadic cases, inherited cases, and new, that is primary tumors, are more likely to develop in both breasts. Okay, a person with UPD may lack any active copies of essential genes that undergo genetic imprinting. Then another disease we are going to see, that is the Angelman syndrome. Okay, the Angelman syndrome and Pidarwili syndromes are the example of disorders that can be caused by UPD. Angelman and Prader-Willi syndromes are neurobehavioral disorders most commonly due to the larger deletions of chromosome 15q, 11q, and 15q, 11q, 13. The deletion arises differentially during the maternal and the paternal diagnosis. Okay, so these things we are going to learn about the this Angelman syndrome and the Prader-Williams syndrome. Okay, in the another lecture. Thank you.